Rabbi said, welcome back to Yerushalmi Shabbos. We are Tzadi Vav Amud Beis. Now, towards the bottom. Now, the reason for the issur of reading Kesuvim on Shabbos, right, is Bittul Beis HaMedrash. There were drashas. Why should you be reading Kesuvim during the drashas? Right? You won't get involved with the drasha which was said on Shabbos. That, in fact, is one of the reasons why, according to the Yerushalmi at least, you don't read the Megillah on Shabbos. In Israel, 15th of Adar this year is a Shabbos. Why don't they read the Megillah on Shabbos? Now, we all have the Bavli which says you might carry it, this and the other. But Yerushalmi didn't hold to that reason. So therefore, according to Yerushalmi, there's no reason why you can't read the Megillah on Shabbos. The answer is because it will get in the way of the Chacham who's giving his drasha. Right? So that's one of the reasons. Me'ata. If that's the reason to read Kesuvim, and the halacha should be Makam Sheyesh Beis Medrash, Al Yikru. Okay, so fine. If there is a Beis Medrash drasha, then don't read Kesuvim. Makam Sheyesh Beis Medrash Yikru. Otherwise, you should read. Leslach. There's no other way to explain the issur of reading Kesuvim. Ela Kadol L'Tani Rav Nachem, Rav Nachem L'Tani Rav Nachem Ne'mai Kari B'Gisvei Kodesh. Why do we not read it? Mipnei Shtare Hadyatais. Is the issur to read normal documents. Right? This is like accounts documents and IOUs and debts. It's a pasuk in Yeshaya. Mimsa chefsecha v'daber daber. Don't do weekday, mundane things. If you're going to tell a person to read Kesuvim, he'll say, look, I looked through my documents. When you tell him you can't read Kesuvim, he said, well, if I can't even read that, so therefore, that's one of the reasons why they don't read documents. They don't read Kesuvim, so they don't read documents. Hadar Amra. Now, this is about the issur of reading Kesuvim on Shabbos. Hadar Amra tells me that the reason why they forbade it, Mishnah Kedevis the Mikra, they didn't want you to read Kesuvim because the main thing is Mishnah and Talmud. It's better to learn that. But Dama say that supposed like the Tanim Shem Berachai, the Tanim Shem Berachai, Ha'isik B'Mikra, Mida, Yilam Sukim. Okay, it's a good thing. Shaina Mida is not so great because Mishnah and Talmud is even greater. Ha'isik B'Mishnah, Mida Shanai Menaschai. You get much more reward for that. Remember, the time of Shem Berachai Mishnah was not yet written. It was all given Baal Peh. Remember, they couldn't write it. That was only allowed later on. Now, Isaac the Talmud, do you understand the reasons for the Mishnah? There's nothing greater than that. And even so, but even so, you should run after the Mishnah more than the Talmud. Now, there's a contradiction here. First it says, Talmud is better than Mishnah. Then he says, you should run after Mishnah more than Talmud. And it sounds like Mishnah is better. So the Gemara explains, that which you're saying, that Talmud is better, by Rabbi Mishnayos. Before Rabbi fixed the Mishnayos and all the halachas in the Mishnayos. Once he fixed the halachas in the Mishnayos, then the Mishnah is better, and then you should follow based on what it said. You should run after the Mishnah, Talmud, more than the Talmud. This is also similar to what you have in Bab Metzia in the Bavli, in Daf Lamed Gimel. It talks about Limud Torah, things there was arguments, and then there were arguments later on, different opinions. It was like two Torahs, etc. And Rebbe gathered all the Chachamim, and they went through the various arguments. They decided which opinions to follow. Okay, right. Baracha, and of course this is all my own thing I'll add in, and this is for learning Bavli, but Limud Yerushalmi, there's nothing greater. But it doesn't actually say that in the writing, but there we are. Now, Barachas, okay, the nusach of the bracha, which the Chachamim were kaveh, like the 18 brachas of Shemon Esrei, yeah, the other brachas that were said from time to time. Okay, so this is about saving things when there's no Eruv, yeah. Now, some of these things you shouldn't even write. Brachas and Kameen, they shouldn't even write them. Nevertheless, if they're in other languages, should they? Okay, so various things you can save from a fire. Kameen, amulets, Shekasa Behen Inyana, things from Parshas Habim and Torah. We do not save them from a fire. Yeah, things which are meant to be written is fine, but things that are not meant to be written, No, Mikan, from here we see Amru Kosvei Bracha is Kesofei Torah. Those who write brachas are like Sofei Torah. They're like burning the Torah, because if there's a fire, they won't be able to save them. Maaseh, we have a story about Achot Kosvei Brachas. He's writing brachas. V'halach Bishmael Lebodkai, and Yishmael went to check him out. Given Shehirgish B'Kol Ba'Mosef, he heard the steps of Yishmael. Not a Tachlich Shal Brachas. He took a bunch of brachas, Zalkan, the Tachsev Shalmaim. He threw them in a bowl of water. Kol Haloshon Azal, and then Yishmael said, God Einish, and the punishment for the last thing you did, of ruining them with your bare hands, was greater, the punishment, terrible, min Harishan, than the first thing that you actually wrote them to start with. Right? So this time it was forbidden to write these things, and then eventually, the Torah Sheba'al Peh was going to be forgotten, and you were allowed to write it. But at this stage, Agadata, like the Sefer which has got Agadas and Drashas and Psukim, a person who writes, he has no portion in the next world. Now this is Baal Peh. Don't say Baal Peh things which are for written, or to write things which are Baal Peh. Right? Api, there are certain things that should not be written. Various the deep things in the Torah Baal Peh, which are given only Baal Peh from mouth to mouth. Okay? So Agalata was a chelik of the Torah Baal Peh. So by you're sort of breaking the covenant. However, later on things were allowed to be written, as we said. The halacha, maybe people would make more mistakes. Agada, there was no worry that people would make mistakes in halacha so much with Agada, so it wasn't so straightforward that it should be written. Okay. Hadarsha, one who darshans gets singed, mischarech, gets singed in Gehenna. Hashomer, when he hears it through someone else, would not get schar for learning Torah. Now, he's not doing a forbidden action. He has no schar limud Torah because it's coming through an avera of reading from a sefer which should never been written. Okay? I never looked at this Sefer Haggadah. Once I looked, it was written there. 175 parshas in the Torah, which start with the word of Daber, Amira, or Tzivoy, Keneged. They correspond to the Shlosim Shel Avinu Avraham, the years of Avraham Avinu. It says with the Torah from Moshe Rabbeinu, you went up, Lakachta Matanos Ba'Adam. Moshe took gifts in the schus of a person, and the Adam is a remiss to Avraham Avinu. It says, Ha'adam HaGadol Ba'anakim. So that's hinted at the number of parshas in the Torah which correspond to the years of Avraham. I did hear, of course, remember, in Bavli, what do? We finish the Sedras once a year. But the Gemara says, in Eretz Yisrael, they never used to finish it once a year. They finished it how often? Yeah, very good. Very good. Either every 3 years or twice every 7 years, or whatever, every 3 years. So one of the Hiroshim said, 175 parshas corresponds to 3.5 times 50. So like 3.5 years, they read 50 parshas, so one parsha for a sedra, and that's how you get your 175. Anyway, Me'av Abai Moshviva, there's Morris, 147 Tehillim. And we don't have 147, of course. We have 149. Try again. What? 150. And we have 150. So the one or two of them might have been stuck together, like 9 and 10 sometimes are stuck together. 1 and 2 might be stuck together. So he's saying here, 147. Keneged Shlosim Shel Avinu Yaakov, the years of Yaakov. All the praises Keneged Shlosim Shel Yaakov correspond to the years of Yaakov. Shenema, as it says, Yisrael is another name for Yaakov. 123 times. Yisrael Einin Hallelujah. They answer Hallelujah when they read Hallel. This was an old minhag that one who read Hallel loudly and everyone else would fulfill their duty by listening and answering Hallelujah at the various phrases. Right? So this is Keneged Shanaisa Shel Aaron. Aaron Cohen, 123 years. As hinted from the pasuk Hallelujah Hallel B'Kodsho. We have to praise Hashem. Hallelujah corresponding to Aaron, who was called Kadosh, the Holy One. Aaron Kadosh Hashem. I feel okay, even though I didn't read Sefer Haggadah only once, I was still afraid at night that he would get a punishment for it. Rav Chia Baba Bachava Chad Safa Da Agada. He saw once the Sefer Agada. He said, "Ima Kesif Tabus. If what's written is good, Tik Tayada de Kasafte. The hand who wrote it should be cut off. Was he wrote part of the Torah he shouldn't have written. Amalei Chad. Someone told him what was there. We don't know who wrote it. Avoida Gabra Kaspe. Maybe the father of that person wrote it, and now the curse will be on him." Amalei says, "Kedamat." That's what I said. I still say, let the hand be cut off, the one who wrote it. He was so sure that it wasn't his father, and the person who did it obviously didn't serve Talmidei Chachamim, otherwise we'd never written it. But Amalei came, and it happened to the one who wrote the book, and these words Rechia Barabah came about. The decree has gone out, and there we are, and that's what happened to him. Even though it's a decree, whether he intended it or not, whatever, that's what happens. Yeah. Now this is the empty versions of Klaf of Sifrei Kodesh that surround. It might be extra empty pages at the end. That's how some learn. Sifrei Aminin, written works written by heretics. Right? Some say Kore and you tear out the Hashem's name. Not necessarily you can't save them from the fire, but even just tear out the names and put it in Geniza and then burn the books. Some say you just burn the lot. He will cut his children, basically he'll bury his children. If any of these books come, he was going to burn them. The whole books. And if someone pursues me, Shani Nimlat, I would be saved by going into the potential of Avodah into a place of idol worship. Nimlat, but I will not save myself by going to potential into these houses of these heretics. So those who serve idols, they don't know Hashem. They grew this way. They deny him. But so the heretics, they know him, and even so, they still deny. On them, David said, Hashem esna. Those who hate you, Hashem, I will hate. This darshan, the Rasha, they darshan to burn these Sifrei books of the heretics. To make peace between man and wife. Hashem said, Hashem shenechta b'kedusha yimach al hamayim. Hashem's name is rubbed out in the water. Sifrei Minin, these heretics books from Atilian Eva v'tachvas machlokas ben Yisrael avin sheshmaim, they create hatred between the Jewish people and their Father in heaven. Ein adin sheyisavu hen maskos, how much more so they shall all be burnt. They bring the community to their heretic ways. Some say that these names have no holiness at all, right? And that's why you can burn them. But we don't, and it's a mitzvah to burn them. Rishma learns it would have been also to burn it, but because they put hatred between the Jewish people and Hashem, it's a mitzvah to burn them, even though they actually are holy. So that's the discussion as to whether they actually have holiness or not. Halacha, base. Is that right? So that is the number base. And now, when you're saving Sfarim from Kisvei Kodesh on Shabbos, Matzilin Tik HaSefer Im HaSefer, you can save the box, the bag of the Sefer together with the Sefer. This is what you got. And also, when you save Tefillin, Tik HaTefillin Im HaTefillin. Even if there's money inside. So where can you save these things to? So this is a cul-de-sac which is not open from two sides, right? So basically, it's a sort of a street. It's not open from two sides. 1 minute. Remember, it's a courtyard. They built their houses around a courtyard. They were open into the courtyard, a few courtyards, and the courtyards next to each other were open into an alley, right? And these alleys, people would use it to go into the main streets, right? Now, there's two types of mavoi. There's the mavoi which is open on two sides. One side is the street, one side is the street. And then you have the mavoi cul-de-sacs that have one exit. They're surrounded by walls by three sides. Yeah? They have openings to the courtyards and one opening into the street. So a mafulish, when it's open on two sides, it's got a din of shusayach. Mavoi sasum, right? If it's not mafulish, so three sides walls, that's just a yachid min HaTorah according to most Rishonim, right? Because it's surrounded by three walls. Mavoi, there you can take things on Shabbos to save them from the fire, but you cannot save things to a mavoi mefulish, right? The street, which is open on both sides, you can't save things to that. So, where are we up to? He says, you can even save things to a mefulish one where it's opening at both ends. Masnisa, now, our mission is talking about a case of She'enos Hafulai, where the bag is not secondary to the book. And even in this case, you can save the bag. If, however, it was subservient to you, if the bag was tafel, then it's like the bag, it's like the sefer. I understand. Tik ha-sefer im ha-sefer. I understand. Sefer Torah needs a bag or box to guard it properly. But why do you need to say tik ha-tefillin im ha-tefillin? Why do you need a tefillin bag? So just like the malach coming near to those who fear Hashem, cause them to calm down, as it were, from their troubles. And bringing the tefillin to the bag causes that the bag will be saved. We find it says now Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, yeah? When Nebuchadnezzar wanted to burn them. And their clothes and so on, they were thrown in the fire, and their cloaks and whatever, and they were thrown in the fire. And he says, I saw these people, the fire did not burn their bodies, the fire did not burn them. This is what Daniel was saying. So when Hashem saved the tzaddikim, he saved their clothes as well. So when he saved tefillin from the fire, you can save it with its box as well. All right, okay. So you should join with the tzaddikim, and through that you can be saved through their zuchus. Okay. Now, so you can save the tefillin with the sefer, tefillin, tik ha-sefer with the sefer, tik ha-tefillin with the tefillin, even if it says money. Yeah, but that can be like a sack bag. It's got money and mukza, and it's in a hefka place. You need to move it to another place. Nice and little kick over the house. You can put a loaf of bread on it and move it. So it's got a davar heter, then the muk says tafel to the heter, and you can move it. Yeah? Okay. So where can you save these svarim? Which means he's got three walls, yeah? That's where you can save it to. But if he's got two walls and two openings, no, you can't save it to that. Usually we say, when you walk with something, it's not kamaniach. It's not as if you put it down at each stop, as if you've stopped. But here we say mahalech. You've got an item in your hand. It's considered kamaniach, as if you're putting it down every step. Because if it's not like maniach ben HaTorah, it's only Yisur Rabbanon, then you should be this Yisur should be pushed away because of your savings for him. So the Gemara answers, if you move things with your hands, the truth is, you can sort of take them through the mavoi to another house. It's only Yisur Rabbanon, which is permitted with taking Sfarim. Ella, we're talking about a case, but Zayrek, where the person's throwing it, or the tefillin from the house. He can't save it only by throwing it from the house, which has the fire. So he's allowed to throw them into a mavoi not mefulish, but he can't throw them even through the airspace of the street, so he should rest in another house or another courtyard, because it could be his Ivan the Issa from the Torah, as we'll explain. So Tamam, earlier on, which is Daf Ayin Ches, at Tama we say Zayrek, when you throw from private to private through public, you're apostle, according to the Chachamim. And here we're saying, Hazayrek, you throw from private to private through the street, you are chayav. Because if you're throwing from private domain, tris rabim, you're potem on Torah, it's only Isma Rabbanon, so this should be pushed away for saving these Sfarim. So why is it, if it's mashma from the Mishnah, you can't take this tefillin through a mavoi mefulish? Why couldn't you just throw it over across? So the Gemara remains with the question. You have to say the Mishnah holds like Rekiva. Now he argues in the Chachamim, he holds throwing something private to private through the street is chayav min HaTorah. Yeah, he holds if you throw it from house to house across the street, you're liable. Remember, Akiva holds kluta, yeah, as if it's on the floor. Now, according to the Tanakama, you're allowed to save a sefer or tefillin only to a 3-walled mavoi. Talking about a case where the courtyard people didn't make an Eruv together. They didn't make Shitufim Avos. And the Chachamim were lenient and allowed you to take a Sefer Tefillin even into a Mova, which is not Mefulish. They didn't make that where they never got together to make Shitufim Avos. But Beseira, he holds Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanina Taman, Gesharin and Fulashim, he holds you have bridges that are built on the street, and they've got walls, and we imagine virtually the walls extending downwards. Rishus Rabbim is going underneath the bridge on the street, right? He holds you can carry underneath the bridge. It's considered a private domain. Although there's only two walls, we imagine the virtual walls coming down. According to them, it's considered a public domain. Okay. Halacha Gimel. Matzilin, you can save on Shabbos, Mazen Shalosh Sudas, food for 3 meals. Haroda Adam LaAdam. Mankind food, you save for mankind food. Haroda Behema, Behema. Animal food for animal food. Ketzad, how do you save 3 meals? Nafla, to make it Shabbos, Friday night is a fire. Matzilin, Mazen Shalosh Sudas. That means before the meal. If the fire came at the beginning of Shabbos, then you can save food of 3 meals. Right? B'shachris, with fire in the morning before lunch, Matzilin, Mazen Shalosh Sudas, you can save 2 meals. But Mincha, Matzilin, Mazen Achas. In Mincha, you can save 1 meal. Rabbi Yosef, he said, you can always save food of 3 meals, even if the fire is at Mincha. Rabbi Bun Bachia B'Shem Rabbi Baba Mama. Our Mishnah is from Nehemiah who said, even a keli, now this is the reason why you're allowed to save food of 3 meals. He holds even a keli for heta, you can only move it for a purpose, right? Now there's another opinion who holds even the Chachamim might agree with this. The reason the Chachamim you can move kalim even for no purpose, anything in the house is considered prepared. But here now saving from a fire, you're telling me you can save any food that you need on Shabbos. We're worried Aful Matzil, he will end up saving Minayom Lamacha for today for tomorrow. Even things he doesn't need on Shabbos. Now, if there is a fire on Friday night, you can save food for 3 meals. And it sounds like that the fire was after you already eaten the Friday night meal. So he says, no, must need to Rav Hundakas. Here's our mission like Rav Hundakas. The Amma who said, Shabbos so this you should have 4 meals, 1 at night and 3 during the day. Like Rav Chidke you have, in the Bavli, Therefore, if you got a fire Friday night after the meal, you can save food for 3 meals. But then the Gemara says, no. Tivzo, we can explain it. No, it was a Friday night fire before you ate the meal. In this situation, the Torah allows you to save 3 meals, because you still got 3 meals to eat. Now, if there's a fire b'yom Kippurim, what are you going to say? According to Chachamim, are we going to say lo yatzu klum? You shouldn't save anything because there's no food on Yom Kippur. Kol Haloshon, no one agrees. Matzilin Mazen Sudachas. You can definitely save 1 meal. Because we don't need to be in fasting and it's dangerous if you're hungry. So definitely you can save 1 meal. Totally related to the price. So we can save food for someone who's sick or someone who's elderly, like a normal person, even though they eat less. Or a Ravtan, and for the greedy one, right, you can save Kedem Zayda, whatever he needs to eat. Ma'avin, you can make Eruv Techumin, L'chayla or L'tzkatan, for the sake of a sick person or a child, and Kedem Zayda, like the food that they eat, even though it's not enough for a normal person, or a Ravsan, for a hungry person, or a greedy person, but Bebedanis, the share of your normal eating. Yeah? Even though the greedy person's not happy with that, but that's good enough. Tani will learn to the price. In Marimin, you mustn't trick and save more than 3 meals which are needed by inviting others. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Amar Marimin, he said you can. Is to know, and some say Matzilin, you can save more than 3 meals with the intention that you're going to invite more guests later on. And then you go and invite them. Is to know, some say no. Mazamin, first you invite them, and then you go and save them. The one who says that you first save the extra food and then you can invite the guests. Like the one who holds Marimin, you can cheat to save extra food with the intention you'll invite more guests. The other way around. Commander Amma Ein Maruni, you can't cheat. So you have to invite guests and then you say the
But
food.
you wouldn't invite guests if you can't feed them.
I know. So, well, he's saying you've got to go in proper. First, you invite the guests. You invite the guests, you go and save the food. Don't save the food if you haven't got guests. Okay. Now, saving Kisvei Kodesh from a fire. If you've got no brayer, we never said you could put out the fire. The Tana holds you shouldn't put out the fire. Tani relies on a price. Now another opinion says no, you can put out the fire. Lahatzil to save Sfarim. Masnisa, our price says the view of Rav Shimon. So almost said Ein Davar Mishum Shavuos. Anything which is rabbinical, nothing stands. Stands before saving Sfarim. So since Rav Shimon holds putting out a fire, so that in order it shouldn't burn, it's a Shavuos. So therefore you're allowed to be over that issur to save Sfarim. Yeah, Ein Davar Mishum Shavuos. Yeah. If you're allowed to do a drabanon to present to stop the bizayin, you're allowed to be metame masa sheni lahatzil to save it. Now, usually you can't be metame masa sheni, but for the sake of saving it, you're allowed to. V'hatani, we learned another brisa. Now with the yeledes, v'chol kodesh lo tiga, she's tamei, she mustn't touch things. Bechol is l'rabbis as truma as well. A yeledes mustn't touch it like kodshim. Now he truma, he master sheni. Master sheni's got the same din as truma. So just like you can't be mitame and go with truma, so huadin, you can't be mitame to touch master sheni. It's also called kodesh. So how you allowed to be over on the issur Torah to save master sheni? My kedut. What's the nafkamina here of saving master sheni and truma as far as saving them from a fire? If you're not matami them, I mean, can you save them more than the meal of 3 meals? So the Gemara says you can save them even more than 3 meals. But you have to change your manner. Don't do it on Shabbos like you do on a weekday. You should change from what you normally do. Now we learned in the Mishnah you should not save from a dleika or food more than 3 meals. Right? Okay. And it says about, taking items, putting clothes on. Tani v'shem just like you're allowed to save food min adleika from fire on Shabbos, kach matzili, and also miyad agas. You can save things from the robbers, or miyad nahar, and from the river, miyad abapilas, from a wall that's fallen down, miyad kol davar she'oved, anything which would be lost. Your possessions would be lost. Halacha dalet, yeah. Now, derech klal, you're allowed to save food of 3 meals. Other ways how you can save more than this year. Matzilin tal malei kikros, you can save maybe a basket full of loaves. Api sheyesh b'ayim mesos is enough for 100 loaves, 100 meals. And eagle shadzavela, your fig cake is stuck together, even though they're stuck for many meals. And also you can save chavis shad yain, a barrel of wine. There's enough wine for many meals. But you're allowed to say lachem to others, come and save things for yourself. If they understood that if they give back what they've saved, then he will give them money. Yeah? They'll be able to take sucha for their actions. So they can do a reckoning with him after Shabbos. Where can you say these things? The chasim areves, to a courtyard where they made an eruv together. The place where the fire fell. He says, even a courtyard which has not got an eruv, keeping it together. Okay. Now, so we said you can save food, which is connected, even if there's more than 3 meals. Is this like an individual opinion? Masnisa Rabbi Yossi, the Amma who said, you can always save Mazen Shalosh Sudas food for 3 meals, even if there's a fire after you've already eaten some of the meals. So actually, this is a question. Is it Rabbi Yossi? You can save food for 3 meals, even if there's a fire after you've already eaten some of the meals. So Gemara says, all the food is like one entity. We treat it, it's all like one meal. So the Tanakhama would agree that you're allowed to save the whole thing. It's all considered one meal. Okay. We said, you tell others, go and save things for yourself. It's very common to have guests for Shabbos. If they were clever, then give him a reckoning for all the work they've done after Shabbos. Taman Taninan, we've learned elsewhere, a person can ask from his friend jugs of wine, jugs of oil. A woman can borrow loaves, and if he's not trusted, Meniach Talisas, he can leave a pledge. Make a reckoning after Shabbos. Tamana Tama, then the Mishnah we say Mashkoine Gabe. The pledge of the shayl is with the mashal. So the shayl, the one who borrows, has to pay back after Shabbos. What are you going to say now, Mishnah? What's going on here? That you should pay him after Shabbos. What do we have here? We've learned you want to save, you want to get schaf your action, you're called clever. So you're holding on to your money you saved from the fire as a pledge. So the Baal Habayis, we have to pay you. We'll have to pay you after Shabbos. Okay. Halacha hey. Now, the place where we learned in the Mishnah, you're allowed to take food there. You can take all his kalim, which he needs for Shabbos. You can wear whatever he needs to wear. Wear any garments. Rabbi Yossi said, Shmona kalim, 18 garments. He goes back home after he's taken off these garments elsewhere. But he can wear other garments. And then he takes them from the house. And he says, come and save with me. Rabbi Yossi said, you're allowed to wear, going out of the fire, 18 garments you can wear. Maktoren with some coat. Nikle is an outer coat, outer garment. Hunda is a belt which you put around the underwear. Opilion is a sheet that you wear on your body. Malfores is a turban that you wear on your hat. The korbin is a type of shirt. Shel pishton of linen. The chaluk shel tzemer is like a piece of wool. Shnei ampalios and 2 socks. Shnei savrikin, and like straps which you tie around the legs. Shnei avrikin, and 2 sort of things on the knee. Shnei min alin, things on the shoes. V'kova shabarosha, his 2 shoes, and a hat on his head. V'kova shabarosha, v'chagosh v'mosam, and a belt on his loins. The sudrin, she'azra isav, and various other garments around his arms. And he says, one who's got a fire can tell others, come and save things with me. Right? And these people can save clothes apart from the Balabais is saving. So it's normal to lend clothes on Shabbos. So when you say come and save with me, basically, what are you doing? They're saving clothes. What are they doing here? The Hashil Matzilu, he says here, when you say Bovat Tzilui, you're allowing other people to save these clothes. That's what you're doing. Yeah? And they're doing it for themselves. They can use it at the time of Hatzalah. That's what we're saying. Okay. Halachava from Shimon ben Anasima. Person Ashal Gidi. You can stretch a goat's skin or whatever. Al Gabashida makes on various boxes. Sha'achas b'hen that the fire's caught on them, and it's not. You're putting it on the part where the fire has not yet reached, so the fire shouldn't reach there. It shrinks because of the heat, and it's not going to burn. You're stopping this fire spreading. So I said, make a vessel, mechitza rather, from the fire with all types of kalim, whether they're full or not, whether they're full of water or not, to stop the fire crossing over. Yeah, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi said, in the other ones, the new ones full of water, they cannot take the heat of the fire. They split open, and they will put out the fire. Kiryam Asnisa. This is the Mishnah. So you're allowed to do this. So putting a cloth of a goat, whatever, on the box, providing the fire has caught hold of it. Well, once the fire has already taken it, then you're not allowed to spread it on the garment. Rabbi Yehuda, Sefer Tosh, which the fire has caught one side of it. Nice and Mayim is done changing, put water on the other side. If it went out, kava, it went out. If it's taking the fire from two sides, that what? You cannot put water on the sefer without putting out the fires directly. You're allowed to remove the sefer and read from it. And if it went out, the fire, then it went out. A garment that the fire caught hold of it from one side. Let's say Mayim is training, you can put water on the other side. If it went out, it went out. And if the fire got hold of it in two sides, then you can't really put water without putting out the fire. You're allowed to take it, the talis, and spread it out and wear it. Because it went out, it went out. Okay. The Rav holds, even when the fire got hold of it, you're allowed to cause it shouldn't spread to another part. Right, okay. Yeah, we carry on a bit more? Mm-hmm. Now, I think... Okay, we'll get to halacha, yeah. Now, we had machlokes from Shimon ben Nanas and Rabbi Yossi, gram kiboy, causing things to go out, is that permitted or not? You cannot put water into a keli which is under a nair, that they will go out, the sparks which fall into the water. So who is this Tana? This Mishnah that causes, it's forbidden to cause a fire to go out, is Rabbi Yossi here. It's the view of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi, I'm sorry, maybe we wanted to say, in front of the fire, you made a wall of cheres, let's say, earthenware, full of water. So the fire will reach it and they'll break and the water will go on the fire. Let's say you put snow or ice in front of the fire. Yeah. And that way the fire will put them out when it reaches them. There's no argument. Even according to the Chachamim, that's also, because you haven't got anything between the fire and the water. And the water will be spilled on the fire as soon as the fire reaches it. But that which he said, Rabbi Yossi, that this is actually the Rabbi Yossi, another Chachamim, this tells me, even, the argument is even a mechisa of water. So putting water in a keli under a nair is like making a mechisa of water in front of the fire. There's no chatzitza between the fire and the water. Of course, the Chachamim is permitted. The Chachamim allow it even in that situation. Okay. So Rabbi Yossi held putting the coals in full of water is permitted because the water will put it out after it removes the mechita. The kalim will split, so it's considered gram kiboy. But putting the mechita of ice or snow in front of the fire, nothing is chaytzis between them and the fire. The fire will come, it will just melt and put out everything. Yeah. So that's a direct action of putting it out. That's kiboy, that's a direct action. Okay? Right. Where are we? Yeah. Okay, I think we'll stop here today, Rabbi Say.